So, a tweet of mine blew up this morning talking about what I thought of Made in the Pyrex from Digga D. I didn't actually plan on releasing this video so quickly. I was hoping to have a bit more time with it, formulate my thoughts a bit more in a more articulated way for this video. But it seems like a lot of people want me to kind of flesh out my ideas, generally just asking and questioning why I think certain things about many of the songs on this project. So I thought I'd whip this together as fast as I could in a way that I hope would make sense and articulates my thoughts in the best way possible. So this is it. Digga D, Made in the Pyrex. This is my review.
You should go now. Run.
So Digga D needs absolutely no introduction, so we're just going to dive straight into the mixtape. So my first initial problem with it, listening to it, is that he doesn't necessarily do anything that new from this, Made in the Pyrex, to Double Tap Diaries, which was his debut project. He doesn't really do anything that we hadn't seen before on that project, or that we didn't know he had tried to do previously. And I'm gonna actually contrast a lot of the songs on this one to songs on Double Tap Diaries to prove my point. So the intro is basically 6+4, and I feel like in terms of the piano melody style rap beats, he's already covered that on 6+4, and even the song with A Star that he did actually on Double Tap Diaries, he's done this sort of thing before. My problem with Digga on rap beats has always been that the flows he uses, it's like he doesn't want to use that flow on a beat that's slow, because he has to rap in a way that sounds pretty sluggish, because he has to extend words in really weird and awkward ways in order to get that flow to work. And so the rap ones, it's kind of harder to enjoy those, and I feel like this one falls into that. I mean, the kind of low-ski diss sort of thing that he's kind of singing, it's quite funny. I can't lie, I did laugh. It made me chuckle. I did kind of enjoy that. But his singing ability isn't very good, and that bites him in the arse on this tape, and it bit him in the arse in the exact same way on Double Tap Diaries. Whilst these were the songs most people enjoyed quite a lot, they were released as singles beforehand, Woi, Chingy, and Blue Woo are the hook-centric drill songs, more party-based, more feel-good vibes, dance around, sing-along drill songs that we know he can do already. He already did this with No Diet. We know he can do those kinds of songs. So hearing him do these, yes, it's nice. Yes, we do enjoy them, and I do think they're enjoyable, but to say there's anything new about them, not really. Blue Woo has some nice quotables on it. I think there's definitely quotable lyrics that are going to stick out in your mind, kind of, they don't like me in the industry because I'm in the streets with the shooters. That bar was a pretty nice one. I did wheel up the tune off that bar. I did like that lyric. But my annoying thing, a kind of pet peeve with this song, even though it's not his fault, if you watch the Digga D documentary, you'll understand why, but half the song is censored to the point where it just ruins the momentum. You're singing along, you're rapping along, you're bopping, and then you get censorship for like a good, 5, 6, 7 seconds at a time at some points, to the point it just ruins the flow of what's going on and you can't really get into the song. It kind of just kills the vibe, and then you try and build the vibe back up to enjoy the song again, and then the censorship comes back. But yet again, it's not necessarily his fault. If you watch the Digga D documentary, you've seen and heard from his own first-hand accounts of his troubles with the police and how they literally try and get onto him for any sort of reason whatsoever. So obviously he would not be surprised if one wrong drill lyric and they attempt to recall him. So I am sympathetic for this one. Woi and Chingy are both kind of, yet again, your hook-centric party drill songs, and I do like them. I think they're good. Yet again, like I said, I don't think there's anything new there. We've seen him do this on No Diet, but this was the kind of birth of the ad-lib that has become his signature, and it's starting to catch on. It does well on TikTok and people tend to like it. It's really enjoyable, and I think it gives a sort of fun vibe to Digga. But even then, we already had that, and we already knew he could do that. So No Chorus with Digga is probably my favorite song on the tape. I think Millions and Digga bounce off each other really well, and I think in terms of lyrics, I think this is his strongest offering on this one. Having two pretty strong drill lyricists back to back was really nice to have. I don't necessarily think the beat was anything particularly special. I don't really think any of the beats so far as you're listening to this part, the drill beats aren't really that special. He doesn't really explore any sort of interesting instrumentation or anything like that. But I do like in terms of the song structure of this and them kind of going back to back, especially with kind of the irony of the hook, because it's obviously the song's called No Chorus and even says we don't need no chorus, but they repeat it and use it as a hook anyway. I liked that. I thought that was a nice touch. And I think Millions' flow is pretty well suited to this beat. I think I really like what he brings to this one. So Folknem actually brings one of the best verses on the tape, which is the first verse, it's a starting verse that Digga D comes with. But we've seen this flow before on Play for the Pagans, but which is PD4P. That was on Double Tap Diaries. We've seen him do that exact flow before. It's literally the exact same flow. Go and listen to the two songs back to back. I'm telling you, they are the same, and you will hear it for yourself. I am not crazy. But even though that verse is really strong, the problem is with this song that I have, the verses from ZK and Savo are so weak and underwhelming, you kind of just want to skip the rest of the song. And that's kind of a problem. If you're only interested in the song for one half of it, what am I really supposed to do with that? It's quite stereotypical and cliche drill lyrics, and I feel like they're kind of just copying what Digga was doing. I feel like sure, the flows do somewhat complement each other, but even then, some of the skippier parts, the delivery kind of falls apart from them too, and they can't quite pull it off as well as Digga can. So the song as a complete package isn't that great, even though there's the one verse that's pretty damn good. Clout is Killing My People is literally a waste of a good drill beat. It's like, okay, you gave us 4 lines, which would have worked as a really good hook if you decided to flesh this song out and do something with it, but then you just gave us ad-lib, and that was it for like a minute and a half, and it's like, why? It didn't need to exist. It didn't even need to be on the tape, but the beat's pretty good and you've written a pretty good 4-bar hook, so why not actually use it and flesh it out? It's like, why? I don't really know. Right, here, this song, My Brucky. Now, the problem with My Brucky is one, Digga can't sing. It's harsh, it's sad, but Digga's vocal ability just isn't very good. So when he's trying to pull off the kind of 50 Cent sort of singing thing on this one, on a rap type beat, he doesn't pull it off well. He just doesn't. And I feel like, sure, yeah, again, you get similar problems in terms of the rap flows that you have on this one that you did in the intro, but I don't think it's quite as bad. But I think in terms of the actual lyrics themselves, even if you listen up until this point, there's nothing in the topics that really jumps out to you and say, hey, you did something interesting here. Not really, it's just pretty much your usual drill type of lyrics and the same topics, the same references, etc, etc. So even then, we've gotten this far and nothing that original has happened. Sure, Digga's always brought his own sort of flows and styles to things, but even then he hasn't really used it to come up with anything that original topic wise. It's kind of just been the same thing, and even then, even when stylistically on the beats they switch up, they have other problems that stop you from enjoying them, as is the case here. Gunman sound is literally just hook and ad-lib, with the verses just being like meh. There's nothing really that interesting here. So it comes to a point where you're probably listening this far and you're thinking this ad-lib is starting to get annoying. You've used it on almost every single track so far. It's starting to get old and it's getting gimmicky at this point. So it's like, can you do something else, please? I am begging you. So Window is basically his attempt at a Tommy Lee Sparta impression, and it doesn't go well. We've seen him try and do yard style bashment before on Never Fear, where he actually sampled Vybz Kartel's Never Fear Them and basically tried to do a Vybz Kartel impression, and it didn't work that time either. So he's tried this twice now, and both times what's held him back is the Jamaican accent. When he tries to use that whilst doing melodic rapping, it just sounds cringe and it doesn't work. If you actually notice, the parts where he's actually talking in a Jamaican accent don't sound bad. Those parts don't sound bad, but as soon as he combines it with the lack of actual singing ability that he has, it just falls apart and it doesn't work for him. Some people, sure, obviously he is Jamaican, so obviously he's gonna sound fine speaking in a Jamaican accent, but rapping in a Jamaican accent, and well, melodically rapping in a Jamaican accent in the same way Tommy Lee Sparta usually does, and in a way that he's trying to replicate on this song, it just doesn't work because he can't really sing that well. Bringing it back with AJ Tracey kind of basically fulfills the same sort of purpose that No Chorus with Millions does, back to back, kind of going barring each way and the other, but I do like how it was kind of supposed to be a throwback to both of their individual flows that they had earlier. It's not quite replicated in the exact same way, but I think that's kind of a bias of people's nostalgia where it's never going to quite sound the same as to when you heard it the first time. Even then, I think lyrically, AJ kind of just spins Digga on this. That's more up to you. I feel like some people go one way, some people go the other, but I think AJ just spanned Digga on this. Even then, I don't necessarily think it's a weak song, but yet again, you've basically just given me the same song concept twice, you've just done the same thing. So yet again, I just feel like give me something I haven't heard from you before, anything, and do it even somewhat well, because otherwise I'm gonna lose my interest in this tape. So overall, I'm gonna go C-/D+. I feel like there's individual moments in songs you enjoy, and there are whole songs that you do enjoy, but you get to the end of all 12 tracks and you realize he's basically rapped about the exact same thing on all 12 songs. The song concepts and the song ideas don't really change. The kind of topics he looks to cover, it's kind of just your usual drill, gunman, crud talk stuff. It's the usual. Some of it is packaged in a bit more of a fun way, like in Woy and Chingy, which means you get a different vibe out of him and a different style, and that's nice. You can enjoy those moments. But as a tape, when you try and listen to the whole thing from top to bottom, Digga can't hold your attention for 30 minutes. The problem with this is that because of all the other things that's wrong about those songs, you can't necessarily enjoy the whole thing from top to bottom. What you're more likely to do is pick out songs that really stand out to you, that have replay value to you, the songs that are kind of solid but aren't great, that aren't complete train wrecks like some of the others in here and can kind of just unenjoyable because of certain things that stick out about them. You'll probably forget about it in 2 weeks and you're not really going to revisit it, but it may pop up every once in a while and think, oh yeah, this is a pretty decent song, yeah, alright, cool. And then there's the other songs where it's just like, I never want to hear this again. Window. Fuck me. But even then, yes, people will say that he tried new things, but all the things that he tried that are supposedly new, he's tried them before on Double Tap Diaries. And in some cases, more like the rap numbers, yes, he's gotten slightly better in terms of making those flows work slightly better, but the problem is still there. In terms of the bashment attempts, he definitely hasn't got any better, and I really, really would love him to stop doing it. Please, please don't do it again. I'm begging you. Please. I know I'm just some random dude with a YouTube channel, and like he's probably not gonna see this, and he probably doesn't give a flying fuck because it went #1, but please don't do that again. On a final thought before I wrap this one up, yes, it had a great commercial drive, a commercial success. Congratulations, we're all happy for you. But my point of the tweet is that the idea that the commercial success, it inflates the value of the tape and how good it actually is when you look at the project as it is. Whether it charted and the accolades, cool, fine, he got those. That's good for him and it does well for his career. But if you are looking at this as a piece of art, as every piece of music is, it's not that great. It's mid. It's not terrible because it's still enjoyable, hence why I'm going C-/D+, and I'm not going in D where it just, okay, it passes, it's acceptable, it's functional, the whole thing is solid, but there isn't anything that you particularly enjoy. No, there are quite a lot of things that you can enjoy about this, but there's also a lot that holds it back, and a lot of nothing really is horrifically original about it. There's no interesting sounds necessarily explored on the beats or anything like that, and in terms of pockets he's rapping with flows, yes, some of them are pretty technical and pretty skippy, but there's nothing that we haven't really seen from Digga before to be like, wow, he really did something new and original and interesting here. You don't really get that across this tape. So, like and subscribe if any of you think I'm even talking the most remote amount of sense. If you don't think I'm talking any sense at all and I'm talking shit and I'm a digger here and whatever, like and subscribe anyway so I can trigger you with my music takes in the future. Feel free to leave your conversation in the comments or any thoughts that you may have, or at me on Twitter. I'm going to be putting this up there next to my original tweet. I'm going to be trying to reply to everyone after this video comes out, just to keep the discussion going, because I guess more people probably still would want to talk about it after I drop this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.